on both NESN Plus and ESPN Plus. We can tell you the story for the teams through their first 4 games. First off, for Rhode Island, their first ever clean sheet in a home draw over Charleston, a performance that was an improvement for Kyle Smith's side.
And against the defending Eastern Conference champions, and they're going to want to keep stacking performances and use that defensive structure and that performance against Charleston and put it towards a good Pittsburgh Riverhounds side.
A good Riverhounds side from last year as well. Definitely Players Shield reigning winners. They got actually their first point of the season and also a 0-0 draw. Not sure you expect to say that in match week 4.
And a team that's looking to get going offensively. And I know the old saying is goals win games and change games, but I think timely goals change games as well. And I think that's what Pittsburgh's going to be looking for tonight, is those timely goals.
And you can see in the basement right now, Rhode Island and Pittsburgh, 12th and 11th. Just 1 point for the Riverhounds, 3 for Rhode Island. They're the only 2 teams left in the East still on the search for their first 3 points of the season. We'll see if either of them can inflict that damage on the other one here tonight. We can actually show you our Rhode Island 11 to swing us into this one for another home match for them. A similar look, just one change, suspension enforced. Connor Glenn out, coming in Mark Doyle.
And a back line that's guided by goalkeeper Jackson Lee, named to the USL Team of the Week this week for that clean sheet against Charleston Battery. And now that you have a performance like that, you want to start building what you look like offensively, and you know what you want to get those numbers forward in that final third, and it's going to be about where can you get Albert Dequa on the ball. And you see 3 goals, 3 chances created, 4 goals total for Rhode Island this season. And he's just efficient when it comes to being in and around the box.
He's got all 3 of the goals that they've scored as a side. He's going up against his former team, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They are unchanged from their last time out, which was a 0-0 draw against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and unchanged, and we talked about stacking performances, and this is going to be a side that is really going to look to press in just different moments, and then they're so good off the ball and able to pick those moments to go forward. So Kizza, Sterling up top, and then Robbie Mertz is always a threat. He's going to do his work off the ball defensively, but the way he can get isolated 1v1, and then the way he can combine with others and teammates in that final third is so effective.
Indeed it can be. We'll see how this ends up playing out for Pittsburgh. Both teams, again, on the search for their first 3 points of 2024. It's going to be a fantastic one between these sides. And we've got kickoff coming up next after this break.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation: you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer nonstop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
What does purpose look like? Whatever your purpose, we're here to help. Centerville Bank. Progress on purpose.
History is made in Rhode Island.
Congratulations, Rhode Island FC, for achieving the dream and making this a reality.
Rhode Island FC, the Ocean State's only professional soccer team, has kicked off its historic inaugural season.
This is going to be a spectacle to enjoy.
Rhode Island on the board!
Don't miss your chance to be a part of the action. Family 4-packs are now available starting at just $80. Get your tickets today.
The future is bright for Rhode Island FC.
We are live from Smithfield, Rhode Island. The players are on the field. Rhode Island FC taking on Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. A lot of firsts in 2024 to come for Rhode Island, searching for that first win. See how this one plays out. Presented by Breeze Airways. I'm Jack Edwards alongside Eric Dobransky here in the broadcast booth. Eric, both of these teams entering this match, not how they expected their first 4 games to go. When you look at this game, what are some of the keys, the big points in the match that are going to decide where this match ends up breaking out?
Yeah, and for Rhode Island, 3 results out of their 4 games. 3 draws, the 1 loss. But as you mentioned, they're looking to tilt those results and start to convert some of those into wins. And both these teams coming off of good defensive performances, 2 clean sheets. For Rhode Island, it's creating chances off the press, recognizing those moments where they can win the ball higher up the field, and Pittsburgh is be decisive and clinical in the final third. They had that extra week in between games, came back against Tampa Bay, outshot them 16-6. Really felt like they should have gotten 3 points. But out of those 16 shots, only 3 of them on target. So being a bit more efficient with the chances they're taking, whether it's upgrading a shot here or there, I think that's going to be, they were creating in that game. Now it's about that final action.
Both of these teams probably coming off of their best performance of the season so far in that match against Tampa Bay. Over 2 expected goals for Pittsburgh, none reality goals, you know, still 0-0 there. And of course, a very good performance at home against Charleston, keeping it at 0-0. We were talking during the break just how tough a back-to-back games it could be based on last year, the Eastern Conference champs and the defending Players Shield winners. Well, Oven Oliva is our head official, waiting for his signal to get us underway. And the Bay Blues, for Rhode Island, they're heading from right to left, and their Rhode Yellows, Pittsburgh, will be heading from left to right.
And for Pittsburgh, we know Bob Lilly's side is going to be really solid defensively. We know that they're going to have that shape, that structure, but only 1 goal on the season. And that's going to be something where, talked about it in the open, it's going to be the timeliness of those goals. And for Rhode Island, 4 goals on the season, the one own goal out of the 4, 3 of them coming from Albert Dequa. So who else steps up with Albert Dequa to create in those scoring moments?
Was Albert Dequa on the ball there. 20 goals last season. Now playing against his former side, Connor Smith saying he's a very level-headed player, able to play a really clear, focused mind. He doesn't expect the former team aspect to play much of an impact on today's proceedings. Blocked out of play, near side, Rhode Island on the attack.
I mean, for Albert Dequa, you don't score the amount of goals that he's scored throughout his career if you didn't have that approach of being ruthless in that final third and taking each game, trying to be efficient.
Official orthopedic partner and team physicians of RIFC. Learn more at orthopedicsri.com. A few limitations in this matchup here for both sides. Notably, the big change in net very early on in this season coming out was Coque Vegas. Coming into his place was Jackson Lee. It was an acquisition that Connor Smith said he knew his side was going to be able to get good things out of him straight out of college, coming out of West Virginia. A great year in 2023. Felt he may have been the best goalkeeper in the college level. He was drafted by LAFC, but opted to sign a contract with Rhode Island. Was called in after an injury for Vegas in the 2nd match of the season. Got his first clean sheet the week after. Actually an assist as well. This was played all the way through, and it will be Lee who collects. But he's come in and he's stepped up when he's needed to for his side.
And made some big-time, timely saves in that match against Charleston Battery. And that's what you need from a goalkeeper, is come up big in those moments where you're going to give up a big chance. You're going to have that loud moment where somebody's going to sneak through, a chance is going to be created. And Jackson Lee answered every one of those calls last week against Charleston.
A lot of early possession. Joe Brito on the ball now, swinging it out wide. Now through the middle, Dikwa swings it around the corner. Few options forward, trying to pick out Dikwa top of the box. Good tracking back, foot put in by Danny Griffin. So a foul from behind, it was indeed. It'll relent the press. You can see the frustrations from Rhode Island, but the first foul goes against the hosts.
And going into this matchup, it's incredibly fascinating. Obviously, the first time these two teams are matching up because Rhode Island new to the league, but even being new to the league, this is an ambitious organization, and this is a very ambitious team. I mean, you don't bring in Albert Dikwa.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, you don't bring in the reigning USL Championship MVP, Golden Boot winner, if you don't think that you're ready to compete. I mean, obviously, we talked about Koke Vegas being injured right now. Obviously, Jackson Lee doing a tremendous job. But the way that this roster was constructed, and you see some of the players that are available as well. I mean, this is an organization, a team built by Kanu Smith that they believed that they were going to hit the ground running. And again, they don't have a win, but they have 3 results out of the 4. They have draws against Monterey Bay. They have the draw against Charleston, the draw against New Mexico. Obviously, that louder loss against Tampa Bay, that 4-1 loss, kind of sticks out to you a bit.
Smith saying his side still looking for their first complete performance of 2024. Felt there were positives in every match to draw from, saying that they've only lost 1/2 of football to this point, and that being against that match against Tampa Bay. As Bernardo Forbes, after a brief pause, uber experienced, whips that one in. Lee, did he keep it in play? Referee says no, he did not. Took a deflection, went out. There'll be another corner kick. Forbes has a chance to do it over again. Maybe put some more mustard on it second time round.
And to the Pittsburgh side of Bob Lilly, I mean, 1 result out of the 4, the 3 losses and then the 1 draw, and obviously that 1 draw just now coming against Tampa Bay Rowdies, who just defeated Miami FC this week and continue to roll on. And this is a team that was the Players Shield winners last year with the best record.
Forbes, again, another corner into the box, dealt with the near post. Brito laid it off, and one for Dikwa to chase into the channel. He'll get there, and it's a big-time challenge, puts it out of play. Looking at last year, though, Eric, through those first 5 games for Pittsburgh, this is game number 5 now. It was 1 win, 3 draws, 1 defeat across that first 5 of 2023 for Pittsburgh. In the league this year, the best they could do would be the extra win in today's match. We'll go to 4 points through 5. Last year it was 6 points through 5, and of course ended up going on, winning 19 games, being #1 overall seed in the East, Players Shield winners. It ended in a pretty heartbreaking 1-0 defeat in the first round, as off his line Eric Dick handles it and dramatically rolls it back into play. But that 1-0 defeat in that first round of the playoffs against Detroit City last season, that put under some pressure. Worked out, Osumanu.
And you bring up a great point, and this is what
Sterling trying to play through, and it goes back now to Lee.
And this is what trends and stats offer us is, like you mentioned, in 2022, 2023, the trends of their starts to the season. And each season starts to tell its own story. And for Pittsburgh, they got off to a slow start last year. They win the Players Shield. But my question becomes, and I think everybody around the league, the question becomes is who's scoring the goals? And how are you scoring the goals? And you know, obviously this side is a confident side, but no Albert Dikwa, the Golden Boot winner last year, and 20 goals. So where are those 20 goals coming from? And I think that's where you can't necessarily, for both teams, you can't assume that the slow start's going to get fixed automatically. You have to be purposeful with it and have to take games. And I think that's where, you know, you talked to Kanu Smith earlier before this game, the preparation to Pittsburgh, and Bob Lilly's sides.
Joe Brito with the chance there. First shot of our match, curled just wide.
Always seem to navigate these challenging times within seasons. And I think that's something that everybody's expecting. But like I said, it's going to be about where and how those goals are going to come.
They bring in Keziah Sterling from South Georgia Tormenta and USL League One, 30 goals across 2 seasons. They're hopeful he can make the leap. He had some just a bit of a delay getting himself underway, made his first start last time out. He was the 2022 MVP of the finals as Tormenta were the 2022 USL League One champions. They're hopeful that he can make the leap, just continue his progression up the USL ladder. Deflection taken and it goes out of play.
And Kanu Smith from Rhode Island made a great point when we were talking to him this week, is I think everybody has this presumption about Pittsburgh that they're very defensive minded. They want to maybe sit in and absorb a little bit and then hit you in different moments, but that structure leads to what they do offensively, and that's where Bob Lilly, his sides have found that consistency, is that balance in both boxes. They've created the goals and they've kept teams off the score sheet, and that's where the consistency within this organization, this team, has just proven year after year after year.
Definitely is a factory, and Kano Smith spent 4 years as an assistant at the Birmingham Legion before coming over now as the head man for Rhode Island FC. Firsthand, a lot of experience, seeing just what Bob Lilly and Pittsburgh are capable of. His side putting the press on. Doyle only changing the 11 from last time out. It'll be the first corner of the match now for the hosts after it's put out of play. Quizera taking that one up the left-hand side. Earns themselves another corner kick. First of the match for them.
And for Rhode Island, that's going to be where their growth continues to come, is the involvement of Quizera, Turnbull out in those wide areas, not just doing the defensive work, but the timing of the entry runs, the involvement, whether it's the combination or the services that you saw there that earned this corner kick.
Mark Ibarra, another former Riverhound. Talked about Dequa a lot. He's another player making the trip up to the new side. It sits up for Brito. Chance to lay it off. He will do that. Got under it. That one might actually sit up and stay in play. Referee says it did indeed. Eric Dick going long. One for Kizza to chase. And that one turns into a fantastic ball over the top. Lee points his defender in the direction away from his goal.
And those are those quick strike moments that Pittsburgh can really hurt you. You get caught off a set piece, your own corner kick, the ability of Kizza and Sterling to stretch you and work into those spaces that really ask a lot of different questions of a back line.
No foul given there, despite the protests. Play to the feet of Houston. Again, referee opting not to blow the whistle. Home side the ones who felt aggrieved that time around. Canardo Forbes, it's left. Dick has to be careful, and he does. Puts a foot through it, but there was a moment of uncertainty before he stepped through. Another moment of uncertainty as Lee has to come off his line. You see that just on both ends. Both goalkeepers called into action after some slightly inconfident defending from the players in front of him. Throw now for Riverhounds. Forbes taps it down. Brito.
And besides that pass back there at the end of that sequence, that was a moment that kind of showcased Rhode Island and what they're looking to do, is picking and choosing the moments where they can press, win the ball higher up the field, but also protecting space in behind that back line and not allowing Kizza and Sterling to have all that space.
Langston Blackstock showed some good strength, but it was taken off of him in the end. His second pass unsuccessful. Now they're back on the press. Big focus for Bob Lilly was don't get pushed back too deep early on the road. Felt that first 2 matches of the year at New Mexico and at Lou City, that first half in both matches weren't up to snuff. Pass there a little under hit. Griffin intercepted. Slid back. Now Mertz. Blackstock plays it back. Hogan played it across, now slid forward. Kizza dropping off the front line. Osumanu. Longest stretch of possession in our match so far. Both sides continuing to feel each other out. First ever meeting between these sides. Again, you look at this game on paper, 11th and 12th in the East in our very young USL Championship season. Both teams, though, and their coaches full of respect for what the possibilities of the other sides are, as Forbes picks out a good ball. Etu, one-on-one. Was he fouled? Referee whistle out of his mouth. Much to the frustration of Etu. He'll go longer with it again.
Olvin Oliva letting them play a little bit. There's a little physical play on the Rhode Island attacking side a few minutes ago, and then that play on Eto.
Griffin given some room to carry. His pass just too heavy out wide. Throw in now for Rhode Island. Currently 4 goals scored across their 4 games so far. Only player with goals to his name on the roster currently is Albert Dikwa, who's running onto this one. He's got 100% of their goal outlay in that department, 75% of the total goal total. Last year, 40% for Pittsburgh, so both of these sides very familiar with the capabilities he has up front. As Joe Brito, coming in from Omaha in USL League One, sprays it out wide.
And again, going back to the way they constructed this roster, you see a number of players with USL Championship experience. You see a number of players with USL League One experience. You see a lot of players from MLS Next Pro. And you have those that have really done it throughout their career, like Albert Dikwa, Koke Vegas, Connor McGlynn, JJ Williams. I mean, you have that experience.
Still waiting for that first appearance for JJ Williams as well. There's a lot of talent that was been brought in, as Keziah Sterling, tight footwork, skipped past Frank Nodarce. We'll see it again. Just pokes it away, brought down. Both Sterling and Kiz are very capable playing with their back to goal, getting involved in things, and now a potential set piece to try and put one into the box. They're tossing a few numbers forward.
And that's a great point, because although Pittsburgh hasn't had a clear-cut chance thus far, I think they're asking the most difficult questions so far in this matchup, because they're doing it, as you mentioned, with Kiz and Sterling back to goal. They're stretching them a bit, so now it's starting to create a little bit more room for Griffin and Mertz.
Picks out the open man, and Etu, his first-time ball is blocked. Now for a throw. Move the set piece numbers back, get more into their open play formation. Pittsburgh will, as Griffin dribbling back towards his own goal, plays it across. Osumanu. His pass too heavy, goes out. Rhode Island throw in to come. See in the top left of your screen the possession numbers to this point. Slight edge for Rhode Island. Pittsburgh and mostly hitting on the break in those transition moments so far. Kind of how you expected this one to break out.
But a good spell of possession the last 4 or 5 minutes from Pittsburgh. The ability to swing it from side to side, getting touches from Etu and Blackstock.
So it's nodded forward. Forbes will cushion it down. Now Blackstock, he's got the player making the run into the channel. Back to Blackstock. Griffin. All the way back now to Eric Dick, rolls it out. Sumano. Good work by Griffin to avoid the first challenge. That one's a step slow. That one's gonna be a foul. We'll see if any extra action is brought in after the foul by Luke Biasi. Referee Olvin Oliva opting not to.
that was terrific work by Danny Griffin. He just needed to commit to playing that ball completely over the back line of Rhode Island.
Lee. Towering header. Referee says it's clean. Looks to be Fusen, who is holding his head as it goes out of play. He may need some attention. Dikwa is making the point. Should have been a foul. Referee will allow a moment for Fusen, who is shaken up a little bit. Last 2 years with Columbus Crew 2, 17 goals across 50 appearances. 2 fantastic years for Columbus Crew 2. We'll see again this challenge that was put in.
They're going to say he comes right through the back.
Foul for you, clean for you? It's Doyle, rather. I was mistaken on the player there. Mark Doyle, the one who was feeling his effects.
Yeah, it's a foul for me, going through the back, and you know, Doyle having the positioning there. You're pretty much eliminating that position moving forward. And Doyle, 8 seasons in Ireland's top flight.
You mentioned just a moment ago the wealth of experience and the different avenues they brought players in. I thought that was Fusen coming in from MLS Next Pro. Ireland's top division for Doyle. Players come off the bench 4 times. He's moved into the starting lineup for the first time today after Connor McGlynn last time out. 2 yellow cards for him. As you see, Cano Smith at the helm as we're back underway after the brief pause for Doyle. He's back ready for this one as it's throw in now, Pittsburgh. Just the 2 shots for Rhode Island. That's what we have in terms of efforts towards goal up to this point. Forbes flicks it on. Sterling flicks it down. That's a good dribble forward. Foul will be called.
And touching on the roster construction again for Rhode Island, just to make this point, is there's flexibility in the roster as well. And I think anytime you're building an organization and it's your first season, we talked about the additions that make this ambitious in terms of what they want to accomplish this season.
Blackstock will have a go towards goal. Our first shot on frame, it's tame. And Jackson Lee gets low, makes the save.
Yeah, this is not a team that just wanted to survive the season. This is a team that wanted to thrive and really go at the USL Championship. And there's flexibility in, as we see that tackle there, there's flexibility in where you move players, and obviously the structure and the formation and the style of play is going to be there. But I think anytime you're first time in the league, you want to have players that can maybe manipulate the positions they play as well. And that's what they've done a good job of, getting experience in different levels, getting players that were effective in different leagues.
Long one forward. A little arc out of play.
And for Pittsburgh, that match against Tampa Bay, there's 16 shots registered. That was almost half of what that was. They have 40 total this season. So not only did they get a good performance defensively with the clean sheet, but you start creating a lot in the final third.
Dikwa will earn the throw in. Their home matches, they've been better than they have been on the road so far for Pittsburgh. That match against Orange County, just 2 shots against them, 2 goals against them. No goals themselves, and that one made it a tough sell to get points on the road, or at home rather. And that has been the problem on the road. These first 2 matches for Pittsburgh was those starts to the game, the first halves. They've avoided that initial 22-minute, you know, could anything happen in these early moments. First half, of course, only halfway through as Rhode Island switches play. Zara trying a foot race. Blackstock takes over.
And that's what adds to this matchup tonight is not only do you have two teams that want to make a run in the Eastern Conference, but you have two teams that Rhode Island's already experienced 3 draws. So they're gonna want to earn their first win, especially here at home. And then Pittsburgh, the 3 losses and the 1 draw, they're gonna start feeling like they need to start picking up points in bunches a bit here to start the season. And it's not to add pressure or really start forcing the issue, but this is where you don't want to fall too far behind. I mean, we talked off air before, was Charleston Battery. You look at the top of the East, you're going to start seeing some separation early if you don't start picking up some 3 points.
Good movement. Dikwa, top of the box. It's blocked. It sits up for Ibarra, the curler, and it's saved. And important that Eric Dick brought that one in. There were 2 on hand. First shot on target for the hosts. And it's Ibarra trying to inflict pain against his former side.
And that's what happens when you have not only good numbers, collective numbers in the final third, but you had layers. You had good balance there. You got 1 shot blocked, but you had Ibarra there on the follow-up in good position.
Good touch in the middle of the park by Griffin. It's one for Sterling to chase to try and make uncomfortable. Keza to do the same on Brito. It's slid forward. Fuson blocked out, throw. Cleverly taken. Coming across to defend was Pat Hogan. You can see again that move, just a great ball to find Dikwa, and a clever outside of the boot pass to initially find Fuson. His shot blocked, and Ibarra on the first time effort. Decent take, forcing Dick into an acrobatic save.
And when you have a player like Albert Dikwa, a lot of teams are going to go into games and say to their players, let anybody but this player hurt you. Let somebody else have to step up other than Albert Dikwa. So what happens is, in a situation like that, a lot of attention is on Albert Dikwa. So you're going to start seeing some of those pockets open up. And that was a really good ball played in. Fuson in good position. Again, Ibarra there to jump on the second chance. And I think that's something for Rhode Island that they could really expose and take advantage of is if Dikwa's on the ball wide, you're going to have all eyes. And maybe that support defender, that second defender starts to cheat over a little bit just in case to help out.
Ball going over everybody. The suspension for Connor McGlynn means that the swap was made. Mark Doyle coming in, now kind of 2 forwards alongside Dikwa rather than playing with the front 2. It was Fuson and Dikwa last time out in particular. Now 2 players playing off of him with just a 2 in midfield. Matches up against a 3 in midfield in the 5-3-2 shape for the Riverhounds. Brito plays it out wide. He makes the run forward. May have been in a bit of space, but could be targeted. Swarmed well. Griffin now similarly pressed. Kizza gets his head to it. Fuson can bring it down, try and carry. Shows off his dribbling abilities. Gets through 2 in yellow. That's some good work. Was it a foul? Referee says no, it wasn't. Steven Turnbull thought it was. Thought he got past his opponent, but the wing back brought down fairly, says the referee. Sterling in transition. He's got a runner on the outside. He'll aim for it. And Mertz, was he pushed from behind by Dikwa? He was. Former teammates up against each other now.
And I know this ends in a foul, but what a way to track back by Albert Dikwa, obviously going through his former teammate. Now for Pittsburgh, this could be the chance they're looking for a little over halfway through this first half.
Robbie Mertz, player who earned the free kick. He's the one over it. Another offering some insight in the form of Danny Griffin. Currently 4 in yellow in the box. We'll see what numbers they toss forward just inside half an hour. Mertz to deliver. Whips that one in for the back post. Going down under a challenge was Pat Hogan. He made a half-hearted appeal to the referee, but always felt like it was a tough sell. We'll see it again, whipped into the box.
Good shape on this service, really putting Jackson Lee in a position where he can't come out and meet the ball, and then his back line is facing him. Robbie Mertz, a player that earned his 100th appearance for Pittsburgh Riverhounds against their match at New Mexico.
Lee trying to drop that one in. It's played forward. Hogan has to be careful under the press of Doyle. He gets under it. It's a good header. Was that a push from behind? Referee wags his finger, says no on Dequa. Home crowd letting their thoughts be known. Definitely felt very similar to the Mertz one that Dequa committed the foul on, but not given. It is a challenge for Ulven Oliva. If you start the game with a low bar, that's a kind of a dangerous pass dealt with by Eric Dick. When the bar is quite low on the fouls, you then raise a lot of questions when you begin to blow the whistle, begin to bring things in. We'll see how it continues to progress as a theme as we near half an hour in. Good strength by Quizera. That one is a foul. Brito brought down by Mertz.
Yeah, because all you want is consistency. You just want to see it. If that's the way you're going to call it, perfectly fine. The players are. It's on the players to adapt to that and make sure that they're influencing the game, but also knowing that the game's being called consistently. And I think for both teams on the ball, they've found success. Obviously, there's been a couple casual giveaways in the build-up in that defensive third.
Dangerous ball over the top. One for Kizza to chase, but Lee is well off his line. Able to deal with that, put it upfield. Dequa was making life difficult. Fusen.
But they've both found success building through that back third and the middle third. Now it's about creating that clear-cut chance in front of goal.
One shot on target, 0.01 expected. That means 1% of the time. Out of play for a throw, but again, just 0.01 on the XG. Very low chance of that one being put in the back of the net. 1% of the time of 100 takes, that one finds it. Now throw, knotted down by Kizza, over the top. Sterling's on hand, trying to make it uncomfortable. It's played across for Lee. Griffin got ahead to it. Holstead out wide.
And I know coaches hate it when you do this, but when you look ahead for Pittsburgh, after this, they're at Phoenix. Then they're hosting Detroit City FC, who are 4-0 right now.
Yeah.
Then they host Miami. So those are their next three. And then Rhode Island at Las Vegas, who's 3-2 right now and playing extremely well, just beat San Antonio. Then against Phoenix, and then at NCFC. So you want to start trending in that direction where you're starting to pick up 3 points.
Good turn, parried away. Fusen trying to sit the defenders down, almost came off. Ibarra, did that hit a hand in the box? Referee waves it away. Now on the break, Kizza is brought down. Thought they got the ball. Looked a little clean from here, but it goes that way. Bit of chaos there out of nothing.
Oh, and I really like what idea Fusen had on this ball played across. He looked to delay it, and Fusen right here, he was going to bring this ball across, but tremendous intervention by Pittsburgh. See this ball falling, and he was just looking to drag this ball across the face of goal.
Handball, arms to the body, feels like a good no call.
Yep.
Referee was called into action. A lot of fans here wanted that one.
But if Fusen's able to bring that ball across, it's It's a tremendous upgrade, but it was just met by an even better defensive play by Pittsburgh.
Almost all of our big moments for Rhode Island so far have kind of come out of nothing. Just a wide action that's gone into the box, and then that brief moment of chaos sets in. Just about enough done defensively. Big challenge put in. It will be a foul. Brought down there was Danny Griffin, making his 5th consecutive start to start the year.
And sometimes you have to be careful as a player when you do feel like the referee's letting some of the physical play go, because then in the final third and defensive third, you start to feel like you can have those tackles, and sometimes you get caught.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get caught in a spot where you're giving up a penalty in the 18-yard box. You're giving up a really difficult set piece near goal. And so you do have to find that balance between playing that physical brand of football that you want to play when the referee's giving you a bit of that freedom, but also have to be aware of the where and when.
Constant give and take, balancing act. Long one forward. Doyle the target. It'll go all the way through though. Dig tosses it back into play. Canardo Forbes. At 2. Sterling can't quite get across the center back before stepping forward. That's a clever ball. Brito's first touch let him down a little bit. Blackstock. Poor ball out by Osumanu.
And Canardo Forbes is a player that we haven't mentioned on the ball in the final third.
Yep.
And that's somebody that really jump starts Pittsburgh. Obviously Robbie Mertz and Danny Griffin as well, but
it's clipped forward. One for Kizza to chase. Lee has to get it right. Takes 2 touches, both of them quite calm, composed. Now it's rolled up. Quizera. Big challenge put in. Thought it was clean. Was indeed clean. Mertz. It's well weighted. Spoke too soon. Sterling can't quite get there. Lee off his line. He's been very attentive and coming up to try and make plays. Both goalkeepers have. One shot on target apiece for the two sides, but the goalkeepers have found ways to get themselves involved. His ball forward there, a little under hit. Kizza. Griffin. Slides it off. Mertz, he could line one up from here. He'll have a go. Always a challenge to try and make that one a threat. And yet for power, he put it over the goal. Now it's a goal kick.
Getting his head up, recognizing that Rhode Island was just backing into their own 18-yard box. The low press there. That ball was always rising.
Ibarra. Fusen just couldn't quite get the touch in. Both teams appealing for it. Goes Pittsburgh's way.
We just haven't had a consistent look of what that final third and what that product is going to look like in this first 38 minutes. As you mentioned with Rhode Island, it's kind of been a moment of chaos, and all of a sudden,
yeah,
collective numbers in the box, and there's a half chance that's blocked. We saw Ibarra's chance blocked. We saw Fusen's shot blocked, or the
attempted move blocked.
And then for Pittsburgh, still awaiting that clear opportunity. Haven't forced Jackson Lee into a big save, but you said it just a few moments ago, he has had to work off of his line quite a bit.
And Jackson Lee made his debut off the bench, rare for a goalkeeper, on March 24th. First start the following match. turn by Mertz. Blackstock didn't make the run, so he checks his run, plays it back to him. Griffin under some pressure, gives it back to Blackstock. Tried to play up to Mertz. He finds Alves instead. Blackstock takes it back. Griffin. Forbes played through the press well. Mertz had a chance to look forward. Great press, middle of the pitch by Ibarra. Dikwa now being chased. Grisera goes back. Alves. Gabriel Alves coming with Cano Smith from Birmingham Legion last year. Playing along that back line. Referee will whistle that one for a foul. Thought about giving an advantage, but pulls it play back. No score through 40 minutes. Some half chances so far, maybe 2 to write home about for Rhode Island. For Pittsburgh, they've been limited quite well defensively by Rhode Island. After 16 shots, 2 expected goals last time out in a 0-0 draw at home with Tampa Bay. They've been limited in terms of how much they can be on the ball in dangerous areas in today's match.
But I think they're going to feel like they're asking the right questions. I think they're gonna feel like if they can flip the decision making in the final third and picking out a different pass in some of the different scenarios that present themselves, I think they're going to feel like they're going to create that opportunity as we see a foul on Kiza.
That was just to jump in really quick, a rare situation where neither team was happy. Rhode Island didn't feel like it was a foul at all, and also there was advantage to be played on for Keziah Sterling, who had the ball and a decent chance going towards the 18.
I think what Olin Oliva is saying is the head injury. I think he's asking the trainer to take a look at Kiza. We see the replay here.
Yeah, he just kind of went down. May have been a slight bump into him by Clay Holstead. Rhode Island FC's $5 beer night is Friday, April 26th. Enjoy $5 beers while watching RIFC take on 2023 USL champion Phoenix Rising FC. Visit road-island-fc.com/tickets to purchase tickets. You were talking about that schedule coming up, just a challenging one across these last few matches. Eastern Champs last time out, Players Shield this time out. Overall USL champions in their next, or 2 matches from now, their next home match. Las Vegas Lights next in the league. As this is played into the box, clever pick out. Can Griffin dig something out? He can't, it's defended well. Now one for Dikwa to chase. Big challenge put in, had to get it right. Osumanu did, and he got it almost to perfection. Mertz now holding play up. Kiza, fouled. He's saying no more. No more for Mark Doyle. Let's look at this one again. Kiza, on first look, definitely looked a little harsh. Definitely, I think on replay, feels like a good call.
Yep, catches that right foot. And again, that's going to be where you're going to start comparing this call to other calls as a player. And those are those conversations that you have with an official. But for Pittsburgh, just like the Robbie Mertz delivery just a few minutes ago, they're going to see this as an opportunity to create something dangerous before the half.
Bernardo Forbes right on top of it. It's interesting what they're drawing up here. An extra player in the wall being added on. You can see the 10-to-2 foul ratio. It's just slid off. The chance from distance, rising. You saw the idea. A challenge to kind of keep that one low and powerful. Ends up going out for a goal kick. Third shot of the match now for Pittsburgh. think definitely both sides defensively more positives to draw from than the attacking end of things. As Lee will go long. Potential for Dikwa to make life difficult for Etu.
And that's what we were gonna experience in this matchup, was what gives, because both these teams are playing well defensively.
Great tackle by Griffin, but asking too much of Sterling on the run forward. It's intercepted again. Kiza. Just a minute and a half out from halftime. Griffin plays it off. Now stood up. Past everybody though. Blackstock may be able to press. It'll bounce through. Griffin. Looking to be about 3 minutes added on at the end of the 45. Offside flag goes up.
But you have two teams that haven't won yet.
Yep.
They haven't collected 3 points. So Pittsburgh's been shut out 3 times this season in 4 games. Rhode Island, they've scored the 4 goals, 3 of those being from Albert Dikwa, 2 of those being in that Monterey Bay match. So what are each side willing to sacrifice to put the ball in the back of the net? And does that carry into the second half to, not changes, because they're both are gonna want to come out with the same structure and the same identity, but that purpose and that intent on the ball, you're gonna see a bit more commitment in that final third.
Fourth official coming out as we hit 45 to put up stoppage time. Good turn by Griffin, 3 minutes of it. Moving through a sea of players, rolls it off. Kiza, Etu making the run. Is he picked out? It's a good ball with the outside of the foot. Was it clean defensively? It was indeed. Good work done at the back. Turnbull turns. Brito, maybe some space to carry. He'll roll it off to his wing back. Alves plays it. Ibarra. Holstead. It's poked out of play.
And that's that ability for Rhode Island on the ball and in possession. You saw it. It starts with a good win in the back. Good turn by Turnbull. Switches the point of attack. But those recovery runs from Pittsburgh just halt that buildup.
Good turn. Fuson, his pass is blocked. It might sit up kindly for Doyle. Trying to just scrape one through. Maybe one of the best chances of the game so far. It's a half one for Mark Doyle. It's saved though by Eric Dick.
And you saw Fuson have him picked out. It just took him a bit too long to get out of his foot. The ball still falls kindly to Doyle, who stayed committed to that run, and she's gonna want that chance back because just not getting the touch he wanted and the placement he wanted.
Sterling on the turn, shot is blocked. Sterling again in the area. Kiza trying to get it onto that preferred right foot, but it's taken over. Now Dikwa trying to just carry it from deep, slides it off. Now Brito. There's space to run into, and there's space to pass into. The switch. If Turnbull can get there, just can't quite. His slide trying to keep it in play. Asked just too much of him. Former New York City FC man trying to rope that one in. But just back to that Doyle chance as we get towards the end of this half. Emblematic of a lot of chances they've had so far for Rhode Island, where it kind of comes out of nothing and it's over in a flash.
It is, and I think both of these sides and both these coaching staffs at the break are going to really showcase to their teams of what space is becoming available in those moments that you just spoke about. whether it's those quick counterattacking moments, whether it's in possession, you're starting to get a better look of what the other team is giving you in those final thirds, and showcasing to your teams which players can really set the tempo in those areas. So picking out those players, the layers and the runs and the timeliness of what you want, and I think those are the adjustments that you are going to carry into the second 45.
Both these teams coming off 0-0 draws at the break. It's still 0-0 between Rhode Island FC and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. We'll see what ends up breaking out in our second half between these two sides. Lots to think about after that first 45 minutes. Some halftime content to come in this one. At the break, Rhode Island 0, Pittsburgh 0. Back in a moment for halftime.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
When you make your play and things just go your way, that's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
What does purpose look like? Whatever your purpose, we're here to help. Centerville Bank. Progress on purpose.
A combative first 45 minutes in Rhode Island. At the break, Rhode Island FC 0, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 0 as well. Both sides looking for their first win of 2024. Halftime currently, and we want to spotlight these fans are the winners of the Seriously Nice seat upgrade presented by Breeze Airways. Every match, 4 lucky fans are provided a premium matchday experience courtesy of Breeze Airways, a proud partner of Rhode Island FC. We can check out as well the goal of the week and the player of the month.
You'll hear every player and every coach tell you, it's like, I can't control the referee.
Good shot and a finish. Wow. Abukora scores with a bolt of lightning from just outside the box, and Loudoun United, minutes into the second half, have the lead. Ball across, Hart Harris! Close range, 4 goals in 3 games! Ball through, oh, it's Harris! Wilson Harris! His 51st championship goal!
Two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I don't care. I paint the town red.
white horses are broken free from the fields.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes when we walk past. Maybe drowning every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
History is made in Rhode Island.
Congratulations, Rhode Island FC, for achieving the dream and making this a reality.
Rhode Island FC, the Ocean State's only professional soccer team, has kicked off its historic inaugural season.
This is going to be a spectacle to enjoy.
Rhode Island on the board!
Don't miss your chance to be a part of the action. Family 4-packs are now available starting at just $80. Get your tickets today.
The future is bright for Rhode Island FC.
Still waiting for our first goal in today's match at the break. Rhode Island FC 0, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC 0 as well. Defensive stalemate up to this point in this one in Rhode Island. We can look at some news and notes from around the USL Championship. It's a big upcoming week in the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. 16 USL Championship clubs will be competing in the third round, including Rhode Island FC for their first ever Open Cup match. March Player of the Month, Wilson Harris, 3 goals in 3 matches. A fantastic start to 2024 for him over at Lou City. The Coach of the Month, Danny Dicchio, leading the club to a perfect 3 wins in 3 starts for Detroit City FC. And we can look at some scores from around the league as well. Obviously still 0-0 in today's match. We can see 2-2 between Indy and Charleston, about 2/3 of the way through that one. Full-time, Loudon taking the 3 points, and a 5-2 thriller for Tampa Bay over Miami.
Yeah, going back to that Indy 11 Charleston Battery match, obviously Charleston coming off a huge win over Lou City, who was flying through the season thus far. And you mentioned Wilson Harris, the youngest player to reach 50 regular season goals in league history. So interested to see how that game finishes out, because Indy 11's looking for 3 points.
Indeed they are. Both of these teams looking for their first 3 points of 2024 as well. Will somebody find the difference maker in our second 45? Figure out after this break.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation: you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
What does purpose look like? Whatever your purpose, we're here to help. Centerville Bank. Progress on purpose.
When you make your play and things just go your way, that's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
Minutes away from our second 45 minutes from Rhode Island. We're currently at the break. Rhode Island 0, Pittsburgh 0 is our score to this point. These two sides, interesting starts to their first 4 games this year. Both of them still on the search for their first 3 points. For Pittsburgh, just 1 goal in the year. Can they find another one in the second 45? We'll see if they can. Our first half highlights are upon us. We can look at what the first 45 did bring us. It's Jack Edwards and Eric Dobransky here in the broadcast booth in this one. First off, in the 8th minute, a lot of these chances for Rhode Island kind of just coming in a flash out of nowhere. The second ball's shot by Brito just wide.
And you could see early on that both these teams trying to figure out where the space was and how they were going to really hurt each other in terms of, as you mentioned, with Rhode Island, they kind of came in a flash where they maybe 1 ball forward and then they were able to get numbers in the final third. Good block here. And then Ibarra, this is probably the biggest save that either keepers had to make. Eric Dick moving to the right. And then this ball out wide to Albert Decoy gets blocked here. And then this is the same Ibarra. Good follow-up run.
Now stoppage time, first 45. A lot of joy found on that left-hand side. Fuson coming inside, slight deflections, just pinballing around, and in the end, Doyle's shot just can't quite get the right touch and purchase.
And sometimes these are the ones that kind of surprise you. You just continue your run forward, and then it ends up on your foot, and you realize that the placement and the execution is off and not forcing Eric Dick into a tougher save. And we could see the numbers, the possession in favor of Rhode Island. But for both sides, I think a lot of that possession has been through the buildup and then the middle third. And both teams defensively are in good form. They're both coming off their first clean sheet of the season, and they're getting good numbers behind the ball.
Some deeper stats to bring you as well. 0.31 expected goals for Rhode Island. Just the 0.1 expected for Pittsburgh, down from a very good match last time out against Tampa Bay. And in terms of final third entries, 32 for Rhode Island, 22 for Pittsburgh. Touches in the box, just 7 for Rhode Island, just 4 for Pittsburgh. Got a few minutes till kickoff. We can kind of dive into those. That right there is probably the biggest thing. Just combined 11 touches in the opposing boxes for the two sides, and only 4 for Pittsburgh through that first 45. They've really, there's two sides of it. Struggled to get there, but also both teams destructively, defensively have been very astute.
Yeah, and I don't want to make this more dramatic than it needs to be in terms of it's very early in the season, but this is where you start to pick up trends from teams, and we see it not only in the USL Championship, but amongst all the leagues. Every sport, you get some teams that start out hot, and then teams figure them out and are able to slow them down. You have teams that have a slow start and start to pick up steam and really start to find form. And you never want to assume that good form is just going to start coming. So you've got to make that happen. And it's too early to have results influence the way you approach it right now, because you're only 4 matches in. Yeah, it's game 5. But you want to make sure that you're not putting yourself into a hole early on in the season where now you're in mid-season and you're playing catch-up, and then now towards the end of the season, you're almost playing a playoff game every match before the playoffs even start.
We have a sub to report on for you for Pittsburgh. Coming out of the game, Keziah Sterling, still on the search for his first goal for his new side. Sub, of course, made by Pittsburgh at the break. None reported for Rhode Island to this point. Again, another home match here for Rhode Island, continuing to grow their club up. Fans, winners of the Seriously Nice seat upgrade presented by Breeze Airways. Every match, 4 lucky fans are provided a premium match day experience courtesy of Breeze Airways. They are a proud partner of Rhode Island FC. Their team taking the field yet again. Chances slinging slightly in favor, as you saw from those highlights. I feel like based on the highlights alone, I feel like it was only Rhode Island with the big chances. That's pretty consistent with the game so far. And that makes sense with Pittsburgh being the first side to make a change.
And I like the involvement of Danny Griffin and Robbie Mertz. And early on, you saw Kizza and Sterling working in both areas of that back line. They were stretching, they were working back to goal. Now can you get Carnardo Forbes involved in that final third? I mean, the USL all-time leading assist leader.
Yeah. Very quiet in that first 45, considering just how influential he can be. We'll have more on him in a moment. Is just waiting for our head official to get us back underway. And the yellow kits heading from right to left will be Pittsburgh on the road. The hosts in their bay blue Rhode Island kits are the hosts, Rhode Island, heading from left to right. Back underway. Jack Edwards, Eric Dobransky with you. You can see the sub coming on now. Manuel Johnson making his 4th appearance since coming in the offseason. Had a 2022 loan to Charleston, making 13 appearances, 1 goal in that spell. Playing for Hibernian these past few years after a youth career there. Now a chance tossed in. Johnson may be the target. It's knocked away. Blackstock brings it down, rolled back. Pass out wide. Too tall, goes out of play. Eric, for the two coach talks at halftime, how stern, how downtrodden do you think they are after the first performance? For Pittsburgh in particular, start with them, the visitors. Based on that first 45, does it feel like one where you're 0-0, or does it feel like one where it's a bit of a poor performance in that first half?
No, I think it's a 0-0 to your point. Yeah, that's a great question, because I think both these teams feel really good about their previous performances, albeit 0-0 draws.
Yeah.
Nope, neither one of these sides scored a goal in their previous match. But Pittsburgh playing Tampa Bay 0-0, and then Rhode Island playing Charleston. So you're gonna look at that matchup, and you're gonna see positives. So I think they're really just going to touch on some of maybe the minor adjustments you can make in the final third, maybe guiding the decision-making just a bit, because a lot of what teams and coaches believe in is the structure can be in the build-up in that middle third, and then when that final third hits, it's the creativity, it's the flow, it's the rhythm, and the vision and the ideas of the players that are on the ball in and around it. So I think it's about trying to make that available to those players with the guidance of this is the space that they're giving you when they're defending 30, 40 yards away from their goal.
Johnson running into this one in the channel. Again, coming on at halftime for Keziah Sterling. A lone change through the match so far, trying to dance his way into the box. Delivery. It ends up bouncing away. Not quite what they may have wanted for Rhode Island, but cleared forward. Griffin. His touch too heavy, goes out of play. Johnson also spending last year on loan at Austin FC2 and MLS Next Pro, so experience in the championship, MLS Next Pro, as well as in the Scottish leagues. Coming in now.
And whenever you have a game that's being played in that middle third, I think as a coach, you do tend to give ideas on where you can speed up the play just a bit, because I think both teams have done a good job of switching the point of attack, getting on the ball, faced up, but there's just been moments where the ball gets stuck to their foot a little bit too long, and it could be released a bit quicker. And I think that's what you're going to point out at halftime is these are going to be the moments where you could go, and they're not going to hurt you if you turn the ball over, because you have good spacing in between your lines. You're going to be able to slow any transition or any counter.
Guizera, the set piece, it's nodded away. It's just clipped back forward. Hoping that it'll fall to a friendly face. It's gonna break now actually for Johnson. He's all on his own, trying to hold that one up. He will draw the foul. Nice step over, and actually the first card of the match will be produced here. Clay Holstead bringing down Johnson in transition. That will be the first entrance to the pocket of Olvin Oliva.
And these yellow cards are mainly not for maybe the viciousness of the tackle. It's more of
stop in the
transition moment. And even though Holstead has good numbers behind the ball and good support, looks like he drags that left foot and catches Johnson. Because for Holstead, that's really his only foul of the match, and it's the first yellow.
Probably the best result for Johnson in that break moment. Not really many options going forward. It's hard to imagine him going from his halfway line, dribbling through everybody, drawing the free kick, drawing the yellow card. That's the first caution of the game. It means that Clay Holstead in that back line will have to be just that much more cautious. It's kept in play by Biasi. Didn't say his name at all. Whole lot in that first half as well. Center back, you don't always complain about that kind of being on the background. You're kind of doing your job silently. But again, Jackson Lee has had to step up and be an important part of this side. Was not the day one starter. That was Coque Vegas, but going down with injury in match number 2. But that he has stepped up into his place since a College Cup run back in 2023 with West Virginia. He's helming things between the sticks. Had a big performance last time out against Charleston.
And besides some of those final actions for Pittsburgh in the final third, for Bob Lilly, you are going to look at that first half and see some missed opportunities on set pieces. You earned a number of corners. You earned a number of deeper free kicks. Rhode Island didn't really create a number of free kicks in that 35, 40-yard range, and Pittsburgh did, and none of those free kicks or corners became anything where Jackson Lee was bothered. So you want to put him in an area where you have a lot of traffic, you're fighting through some of the physical play there, and you're at least testing the goalkeeper.
Holstead, Fusen, Dequa flicks it on. It's good ball movement into the box. Can they get a shot on frame? And that may have been blocked by a defender, just sat down. Steven Turnbull, almost a shot on frame, and actually play was going to have to be pulled back for potential head issue is the thought process there. Albert Dequa is saying it may have been elsewhere, but it looks like it was Osumanu who made a massive intervention, maybe at a personal cost. Best chance the second 45 falls the way of Rhode Island.
And I know the initial reaction's always disappointment when the play is stopped here, but this is a part of the game that we've really been purposeful about, is stopping play immediately when you feel that there's any head injury or any dangerous moment. As you see,
just watch Osumano, takes it right on the noggin. Gets up immediately at that first jolt of adrenaline. Didn't know a ton about it, just actually slips on the turf here and turned out to be in a very advantageous position. That one might have been on frame, might have been in the back of the net. Not sure if Eric Dick is going to be able to get across on that one, because Turnbull did really well to dig that out with the left foot across the goalkeeper's momentum. And Osumanu, they'll hope that he's okay to continue, but took the full brunt of that.
See this build-up, good link-up play, good run by Turnbull.
That might be in the bottom right corner.
And that's where Pittsburgh has had some really timely interventions. Obviously, Osumanu kind of slipping into that intervention, but talked about the tackle inside the box against Fusen in the first half. The block on the shot that led to Ibarra's opportunity from outside the 18-yard box. So Pittsburgh has come up with some big plays defensively in the final third, or in the defensive third, sorry.
He's been an important part of the team. 5 starts through their 5 games this year for Osumanu. Made just 6 in all of 2023. Arturo Ordonez leaving the club to Lou City, Defender of the Year last year. Part of just several key pieces to leave. Always hard to try and rebuild, recharge for Bob Lilly, especially when you're able to create players of the quality he did with Ordonez over 2 years, Dequa over several years. Now playing against Dequa.
But we talk about the construction of a roster from Rhode Island. Asumanu, USL League One champions in 2021.
Great move through. Just too strong on the touch from Doyle.
With Union Omaha, so another player that was very successful in League One.
Good touch, Fusen. Offsides is the call. Not quite sure who was in an offside position when challenging, but assistant on the near side had his flag raised. You can see those stats, top left of your screen, the expected 0.35 on 7 shots for Rhode Island, less than 0.1 for Pittsburgh on 4 shots. Just the 3 on target combined. It's gonna be a foul on Holstead.
And he has to be careful with what he turns around and says to the referee, as
especially.
Yep.
The foul wasn't second yellow card worthy, but
correct.
Any frustrations that boil over could definitely see him sent off. So that's a potential thing to watch out for Cano Smith. And all of Rhode Island is just the one player on the yellow card. That would blow this game wide open. You know, a game that's been really thin margins. You're wondering, is it going to be one moment of quality, one moment of mistake? As Etu is trying to carry this one through. It's cleared away. You're wondering what is going to be a decisive moment, if there is one. Both of these teams coming off of 0-0 draws, of course, in their last match. It's knotted down. Forbes getting onto it. Rare touch in the attacking third for him, but he's quickly closed down. Forbes a target, pass blocked. He may have been off sides when he was trying to receive it. Question not raised, Jackson Lee.
But you like that he was drifting that high up the field. Looking to get involved and influence those moments.
Allowing Lee a bit of time on the ball. He'll aim to his left-hand side. Alves, back to Lee. Back to Alves. Holstead.
And you're just missing urgency in the final third from both teams, because the way that these teams set up and play defensively, the shape and the structure in which they present, it just allows numbers to be around the ball. And when you regain possession, you're in good position to go forward. And you've seen it a number of times, but it's lacking a bit of that ball getting played forward and breaking a line and putting a player in, whether it's in behind or in a position where they're 1 versus 1, and finding that space in that scenario. But you have to do that with pace. You have to do that with decision making and speed of play.
Player down off the ball. It's gone long here. Kiz at the target. Tug from behind. Foul given. Riverhounds way. Danny Griffin over it. Turned over, Johnson. It takes a deflection, and it's picked up. Dick rolls it out. Alves, his pass. Fought for. Olstead, his pass. Ibarra. Dikwa. One for Turnbull to chase. Stephen Turnbull, slight discomfort. Alves down. Olstead. Kizza press in. Front three being made for Pittsburgh. Kizza, Johnson, and Mertz almost into a right forward position now with the current shape. Past the hour mark. Olstead carrying it through. Big challenge put in. Forbes, some numbers running forward. Canardo Forbes, a heavy touch though. Disappointment by his standards. It's out for a throw in. Rhode Island's $5 beer night is Friday, April 26th. Enjoy $5 beers while watching RIFC take on 2023 USL champion Phoenix Rising FC. Visit rhodeislandfc.com/tickets to purchase your tickets.
And two terrific tackles at midfield, one by each side.
Blocked, out of play, throw in. Johnson, hold up play. Etu and Turnbull fighting for it. Etu, Turnbull down, felt he was touched in the face. Also waved off there. Etu, very frustrated with that one. Turnbull still feeling some effects after coming together between him and Etu on this near side. Referee opting for no intervention on both instances. Now Brito, foot race, brought down, was a foul. Yellow card also produced. As we'll see again, just, was that a foul there? Was it an elbow?
Etu catches him with that left elbow, and then he turns and wants a foul on deep in Rhode Island's defensive third, and good drive there. This wide area, and Asumanu picks up a yellow card.
It was Osumanu booked there. That coming together on the far side. We can see that one now. Brito just bumps him as he's trying to carry that one forward. So a yellow card. One on each side now. Delivery, it's under hit. Almost sat up. Kizza got a foot to it. It's gonna stay with Rhode Island though, not fully cleared out. Fusen, good tackle put in. Just about kept in play as well. And now they have a chance to potentially play through. Forbes, Johnson to his left. He's one-on-one, second player coming over to help. Forbes offering an option, but a foot put in. Heading the way of Rhode Island.
And coaches and players will always tell you, especially early on in the season, one of the toughest parts to find consistency and continue to build and have that immediate growth is in the final third. It's where you lack the most space. It's where you lack the most time, where things need to be on point, in rhythm, decisive. And I think that's where both these teams are. They're still
dropped forward for Johnson.
Growing that identity offensively, but what you don't want is when a goal-scoring drought continues, you don't want it to influence those decisions. You don't want to influence maybe how tight your team plays and the way they play defensively as well, because really what you're looking for is efficiency. Even if you create 3 chances on target, put 1 or 2 of them in the back of the net, and both these teams, they're putting themselves in good spaces, putting themselves in good areas. It's about executing on that final pass.
There is no shortage of quality on both of these teams. Reigning Golden Boot winner, moving from Pittsburgh to Rhode Island on the side of the hosts. We got all-time assist leader in the league, Kennardo Forbes. Keziah Sterling brought off, but scoring 30 goals across 2 seasons at the USL League One level. You've seen it being done by Edward Kiza, 4 goals last year, has one this year, already been heavily involved in this new campaign as one of the leading players for Pittsburgh. Stephen Turnbull coming out, Colin Smith coming in. Prince Sadie also coming on for the hosts as part of 3 changes. Coming off Mark Doyle as well. He was the lone replacement in the starting lineups. Colin Smith is again coming into this match in place of Stephen Turnbull. And Karifa Yao coming in for Mark Ibarra. Dikwa just can't quite find a teammate. Well, his pass back, out of play. Mark Ibarra still in. Joji Akwizara, the player, coming off instead there. That'd be the 3rd change. You'll see those cycle up in the top left of your screen. So the 1 change, Johnson on at halftime for Sterling. Now Sadie, Smith, Yao coming on. As you see, one of the new subs on the right-hand side.
And Prince Sadie, another explosive attacking player.
13 goals across 2 seasons for Hartford Athletic. Mentioned in the quality. That one flicked on by Dikwa. First chance in the Rhode Island kit for Colin Smith. Foul committed. Darce, the player, coming across that. Great back heel. Now some momentum moving forward. Foul from behind. That one will also produce a yellow card and a free kick in an extraordinarily promising position. Blackstock, the player, committing the foul from behind. He's booked. See it again, just a fantastic back heel to get it past Blackstock on the first effort. And just trying to recover his position. Goes through the back of Colin Smith.
And that space comes off that clever back heel into space, but the commitment to drive, and this is gonna be a really positive area for Rhode Island. Presents multiple options. You have the chance to go test Eric Dick, or you could create a lot of traffic there, have good runs. Just like I spoke about for Pittsburgh, you want to get something out of this. You need this to test and ask questions of this back line and Eric Dick.
Mark Ibarra. We've talked at length about Dikwa, his threats against his former side. Ibarra Also former Riverhounds player, whips it into the box, flicked on, and it's agonizingly wide. Karifa Yao trying to make it an immediate impact on the delivery from Ibarra, just can't put it on frame.
And you saw the separation there, and Yao had the space, he had the inside track on his defender. He just needed to get more to guide this on frame. Good delivery by Ibarra.
Another example of just the thin margins. If he's half a foot, maybe even less, further forward, can get some good purchase on that. Put it towards goal. Dikwa touches it down. Brito. Sadie. Rolls it back. Yao. Darce played it out wide. Ambitious flick on by Dikwa, showing the quality he can have. Trying to pull that one off. Out now, Brito. Good challenge coming across by Canardo Forbes. A player that Bob Lilly says his experience and just the energy he always brings. A great example that at moments like these, he's playing the exact same way, training the exact same way. Even if results haven't gone the way of Pittsburgh so far this year, 3 defeats, 1 draw through 4 games, looking for that first 3 points. Currently on track for a second consecutive 0-0 draw. But Canardo Forbes, at 35 years of age, a mainstay as he begins to put a bit of pressure on. If this result holds, definitely will be a step back from the performance last time out against Tampa Bay, but in terms of the first 3 games, another clean sheet, another draw. We'll see if any changes happen in this one. Not writing it off in the slightest. Took a deflection actually off of Forbes, much to his confusion.
Yao had to get that tackle right, and he did.
It was Etu, rather. You saw the drop down up there. There have been some fouls. Game's gotten a little chippy at times. A few yellow cards distributed. 2 for Pittsburgh, 1 for Rhode Island. Holstead. Ibarra. Tidy footwork, powering into the box, going down less under the challenge and more so just loss of balance. Ibarra, Holstead, his touch a little light. Forbes trying to play it to Johnson, but it's a great step by Yao. Ibarra out wide. Smith been very involved since coming on. It sits up, trying to just squeeze it through, maybe overthinking it a tad bit. In some space there was Holstead. It's curled in, flicked on. Colin Smith, let's try and recycle it. That one's under hit. Poor touch. Referee will give a foul there. It's a free kick.
And since the introduction of Yao, Sadie, and Smith, Rhode Island has looked more dynamic there in the final third. They're creating chances centrally, they're creating chances out wide.
We win, you win with Rhode Island FC. Take advantage of special rated tickets to our next home match on April 26th in honor of the first win potentially here tonight. Available for 48 hours if there is a win here today. Applicable to North and East bleacher seats. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com/tickets to purchase tickets. Challenge put in. That is a foul again going against Rhode Island there. Some substitutions being cooked up by Pittsburgh. When we get confirmation of those, we will show you them. Just over 15 minutes left in this match. We'll see if either team has a moment that can break this game wide open, or if both teams are poised for a second consecutive scoreless draw. It would be as you were with the bottom of the table. Not the start that either of them envisioned for Rhode Island in their inaugural season, and for Pittsburgh in their Players' Shield defending season. Dropped in, Johnson. Flag goes up. He had a good first touch, but it was after being too far up the field.
And if this scoreline holds, I mean, you're gonna be able to frame it that if you don't concede goals, you can't lose. But you're also gonna start falling behind in that points chase, because clean sheets are great, but you're gonna have to start finding ways to tilt these results.
Zadie trying to whip it into the box. It's through everybody. It's going to roll out. Some subs being prepped. Danny Rivera, Bradley Sample, Babacar, DN, the 3 players preparing to come in. You can see the board being put up. Robbie Mertz will be coming off for DN. Coming off will be Langston Blackstock, booked just a few moments ago. Probably a pretty sensible choice there to bring him off on the caution. The 3rd player being brought off is Canardo Forbes. Player of his quality, really struggled to put his stamp on the match, try and implement his tempo to the game. But again, Rovira, Sample, DN, the players coming on. 4 changes overall made now for Pittsburgh. 3 changes for Rhode Island to this point. Both teams have made a triple change. We'll see what impact that has on our final 15 minutes. Going down slowly there was Johnson, nothing given. Yao. Brito. All the way back now to Lee. Etsu, his pass arcs out of play. Well, the USL and the CBS networks continue in April. Mark your calendar on Saturday, April 27th, as the Tampa Bay Rowdies clash with New Mexico United at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. That Lou City Indy 11 game really was a treat for the first nationally televised game. 8 goals in it, 5-3, a Wilson Harris hat trick. The absolute dream. It's dropped into the box, across goal, beautiful save, and another one on the rebound. Fantastic work from Jackson Lee to keep this one at 0-0. Unbelievable reflex on the follow-up from Manuel Johnson, even better somehow than the first one.
And this is a terrific ball played in, and then a bit deflected there, but Jackson Lee, the one big save, the initial save, and then the second one even better.
You saw Babacar Dieng fall to his knees after that one was put over, saying, how on earth did we not score from that chance? Nathan Messer will be coming on as well for Joe Brito. And also another recent sub just right here. Bradley Sample right in front of you will take this corner. Can they try and get a goal from this sequence? Again, Lee comes out big, becoming a favorite for the home fans here for good reason. Saves like that are remarkable.
He's going to start stacking USL Team of the Week selections, and that's, I'm going to say it right now, it's got to be at least in contention for Save of the Week or saves.
Unbelievable. It will have, I think, added weight just as the plural there. Saves of the week, the double save. Just the reaction foot save to keep that one out. And here we are seeing Messer coming in for Brito, making his debut as well. Playing for Providence in 2023. 5 goals, 4 assists. Another look at this one. We can watch this all day. Great ball in to be the threat there. The foot save, and then just sticking the reflex hand up. That is something that's almost impossible to teach, to know just as you're diving across goal, sticking the hand up.
And that's what goalkeepers and goalkeeper coaches work on, is getting that hand up, being strong with that hand, because you just never know if you can get a touch and you've got that hand up strong enough, you're gonna parry it over, you're gonna parry it wide. That's just terrific goalkeeping by Jackson Lee.
Shifted out wide. Holstead, who interestingly, after being booked in that left center back position, has been shifted up into a more midfield role as they're playing it through. Dikwa on his former side drags it just wide. May have been a slight save made, but Dikwa, a great chance for Rhode Island, and he can't put that one away.
And now we have both teams exchanging chances. It just takes until the 80th minute.
Yeah. Is this fatigue? Is it finally things clicking? A combination of the two?
No, I think both teams have made adjustments and subs that have come in and impact the game. I think, you know, even Johnson, Jackson Lee makes a tremendous save on Johnson's attempt, but putting yourself in that spot, and then that ball played into Albert Dikwa, and talked about what they've looked like offensively since the introduction of Sadie, Smith, and Yao.
Dikwa from distance. Oh, this game, if it was going to have a goal in it, it may have required something brilliant like that. Let's flash back to that one-on-one chance. Great work by Alves and a great find through for Dikwa. And I think he just drags that one wide with the left foot.
Yeah, this is where Dikwa's really made his living, is finding those low percentage areas where some forwards just find it difficult to finish. That's where Albert Dikwa's always made his living, is clipping one over the goalkeeper, being really clever with what area of the foot he's using at different angles. And you mentioned it, he just drags that one wide.
Eric Dick just flew off his line to make himself a threat, diving low. That was a foul at the midfield against Rhode Island. Both teams with their best chances of the game by far within the last 5 minutes. Double sequence, nodded back. All the confidence in the world they have right now for Jackson Lee for sure. Coming off that first clean sheet as a club, first for him as a pro. Definitely an added boost there. The match against Tampa Bay was a tough one. As it's flicked on, Dikwa just can't quite get there. Again, Eric Dick, brave off his line, gets there ahead of Dikwa.
It's gonna be a game of showcasing goalkeepers.
Yeah. Dropped forward. They gotta play it back. Poor pass out by Lee. I think he's allowed that after the double save he made. He's got enough goodwill in the bank. We'll let him off with that one. But just to kind of give reference for how good those chances were, not exact on my numbers, but the expected goals figure for Pittsburgh, it's flicked on in the box. Big call to make here. They're looking to the referee. He wags his finger, says nothing given there. Still on the press. Another big challenge put in. Well kept in play as well by Messer. Ball went out. It's going to be a throw for Pittsburgh, but their expected goals figure jumping from about 0.1. As you see this one again. Foul for you, Eric?
No.
Gets the ball.
I think that's a good football play there. Good tackle by Alves. And it would have been harsh to give it with the way he has let this game play out.
Especially in the box.
Correct.
Where it feels like the bar should be a bit higher, and the bar has been quite, I don't know if it's low or high, the right word for the fouls. It's been, a lot has been let off at times. It's kind of going back and forth. But the expected goal figure now to finally get that point across, 0.1 to 0.85 now. Just almost a 75% chance on that sequence for a goal to come from it. And somehow you can see there, they've shot themselves up with that massive chance for Pittsburgh, but that's what good goalkeeping, good shot stopping gains you in the end of Rhode Island. Johnson, that one's gonna roll too quick. Out now for a goal kick.
And let's see if both those chances, one for each side, inject some confidence into these teams heading into this final 6 minutes.
Yep. At the very least, they won't leave the game with no major chances to draw from, where he said, all right, defensively all right, but we couldn't really create much. Both teams, they created something, and that's something to come away with. That's something Bob Lilly said, is he's gonna be concerned when the chances aren't being created, when they're not able to make those things happen, because if they don't put them in the goal, that's just a case of reps, just kind of getting over that hump eventually. You create enough chances, you expect them to go in. You expect 0.85 goals today, but in, of course, actual goals, none yet because of the heroics from Jackson Lee. Rolled back. Dikwa, far away from goal, keeping play ticking. Ibarra, combining with a teammate he had last year, the year before that. They joined themselves now at a new side in Rhode Island. Good interception on the pass. It's passed out though, only finds an opposing jersey. Yao. Smith, back to Yao.
I think building off of what those chances were for both these teams, you're really looking to create one more. You want one more crack at frame, or you also want to create a free kick deep in that attacking third.
Here's an attacking sequence for Rhode Island. It's whipped into the box, headed away. Maybe a thought from Dikwa, top of the box. Was he fouled? Waved away. Again, referee pretty consistent in those no calls. Coming together here, inadvertent between teammates. Good drag back, and Pittsburgh still have possession in the attacking third, and that's actually great hold-up play by Kiza up against No Darce. Really had no avenue forward, getting the best result there, the foul.
And that's experienced by Kiza, knowing that there were no numbers to bring as we see. Let's play on Dikwa. And a quick restart for Pittsburgh.
Still a throw for their side. That one on Dikwa looked like it was a bit closer than I think the first initial reaction I had, at least, Eric. But obviously the referee again opting against intervening. Etu tosses it in. He'll get it back. Curled along. High header. Lee will go and claim. Confident goalkeeping.
Good ball played across. You just get the header from Rivera. He wants to drive that ball across the face of goal or along that 6-yard box, and gets underneath it a bit too much. Just floats it up where Jackson Lee could meet it at its highest point.
A nutmeg there by Sadie. That one feels like it's gotta be a foul, and it actually will be a short bit of thought. Maybe the assistant, the one intervening. Yellow card also will be produced. Junior Etu will be coming out during this sequence. Coming in will be Sean Suber. Griffin having the quick discussion there.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth with calls in both sides. I was going to say that play from Prince Sadie really forcing Biasi into that tackle.
Biasi is booked. This isn't quite the deep free kick you wanted, Eric. It's a bit further away, but still a chance to put some numbers forward. Able to put the ball down on the ground, try and loft one forward. You got two options here. Standing over it, Nathan Messer as well as Ibarra, who has had some decent deliveries with the right foot so far. Referee will have to talk about some pushing and shoving in the box.
And you're going to look to create that confusion that you had when Ibarra had the service on the left flank, where he had a lot of space in the free header.
Messer curls it in, headed towards goal, and it goes wide. They wanted a corner to follow it. It'll be a goal kick afterwards. Always was going to be a challenging header to put one towards goal to challenge Eric Dick in goal based on where it was taken from. Wide of frame.
This is going to be a portion of the game where You want to find good balance between playing fast and playing under control as well. You want to create that one clear-cut chance, but you also don't want to leave yourself open for the other team to create one off you being either the spacing being a bit off or you committing too many numbers.
Another sub coming in. That is that Suber in for Etu sub we had mentioned was being prepared. Task now for him in his 5th sub appearance of the season since coming in from Huntsville in 2023. He's just trying to see no goals go past him. Maybe try and push forward. One last chance, waiting for stoppage time. A bit of a heavy touch. Kiza can't quite get onto it. And I think the momentary heart attack is past. Long one forward, all the way through. Eric collects. Flipped forward. We're hearing we'll have 6 minutes of added time as a corner is given for Pittsburgh right as we embark upon it. 6 minutes. That's a lot of added time, Eric, for a lot of things to happen.
It is, and for Pittsburgh, I mentioned it early on in the second half. This is going to be an area that they're going to want to take advantage. They had a corner a few moments ago. Going to see this as this game is later on. Trying to find a good opportunity.
Corner into the box. It's flicked on. Chested down and sliced wide. Danny Griffin always would be a challenging one for him to try and put towards goal through a sea of players on his weaker foot. Ends up slicing it wide. Lee plays it back in. Headed down by Pittsburgh. Now played through. So foul is given after the ball was played through. Yellow card will also be produced. Looks to have been given to Babacar Dieng.
Looks like a turnover here, and Dieng.
Yeah.
Just catching Yao there at the end.
Boot was high only because where he thought the ball was going to be didn't go, and then the only thing to stop his leg was his opponent's leg, and Yao is back to his feet. Another yellow card given. Long one forward, bounces over. Slight bump in the back, put in by Messer on Suber. They have a throw deep in their own half. They have to be careful here. Turnover in this area could prove costly. Flicked on by Johnson, headed back towards goal. It's gonna be a foul by Dikwa.
And you have seen both these teams be a bit more direct the last 4 or 5 minutes, looking to bait each other into thinking that they're going to build through the back. A couple passes, whether it's center back to goalkeeper, back to center back, and then the longer pass that breaks those lines. Looking to capitalize on a possible mistake out of the back. Missed assignment, misplayed header.
It's played forward. Some numbers in the attack for Pittsburgh. Tried to play that one across, and actually it did take a deflection. Chance again for Pittsburgh to launch some numbers forward for this set piece. It's a corner kick on the far side. Referee wants play paused for a moment. Actually, it's going to be a yellow card produced for Staff. Looks maybe for reading there. Kano Smith might be the player who's been, I say player, coach, who has been booked. No real tangible impact on things. Actually, there was a push in the box.
this late in the match, you need your teams to keep their heads, make sure they're not making a decision that influences the result.
Johnson saying that he was having his shirt pulled. And actually, he's going to be booked for that. Couldn't quite make out which Rhode Island player it was, but somebody was in the back of the net after being pushed off by Johnson, who will put his hands up quite theatrically and dramatically. But it is a corner kick in the end. Pittsburgh curls it in. It finds a Riverhounds head, but it doesn't come too kindly for them. Nearly on the turn. It's blocked, out. Rhode Island throw in. Here again, just look at the left side of your screen. Between Johnson.
Looks like Smith.
Yep. Colin Smith just thrown to the ground, and also another foul given. Rhode Island free kick. They play it quick. We've got a minute of the minimum of 6 remaining. We'll see how much more is added on due to the stoppages for the yellow card for Colin Smith, as well as for Johnson of Pittsburgh. Good drop of the shoulder by DN. Trying to play that one for Johnson. Off his line is Lee. Had to get it right, and much like he has almost all of today, he has. Clears it out. Threat still isn't gone, though. Still in the attack. Our Pittsburgh stands this one up forward. Lee collects. He's going to bomb this one forward. He already has an assist this season. That one won't quite come off. Sadie gets something on it. Brought down by Ibarra. Squeezes it to Sadie. Long. Eric Dick will be able to collect, and I think you can tell just from the body language there that the draw on the road is probably a better point than the one for Rhode Island. Be back-to-back points for them.
Yeah, and I think clean sheets are important. I think those are performance that are collective. They're performance that you can keep building on. You're gonna feel like you can build that positivity in the attacking third, and you're gonna find those goals. But defense travels, and talk about offensively, the introduction of Prince Sadie, he has been involved in a lot of action in the attacking half, and in whether it's on the ball, in challenges. This is a late free kick.
Late free kick. Could this be the route to their first win as a club? Under hit, headed away. Now all eyes on the center official. How much more will be added on? Heavy touch, a pull down there, and that one's certainly going to produce a card. We'll see what color it is. Yellow is out. They're saying that he's off his line. That's, in my take, Eric, a clear goal scoring opportunity. An incredibly tactical foul. I think if you define tactical foul, you might point to that one right there. Yep. Terrible touch taken by Smith.
And you could see the argument from Pittsburgh, and I think they're perplexed on the explanation of.
I mean, that's a American football tackle. Last man, last minute of the game. I think he's very lucky to not see red. Let's see it again.
Yeah, let's see if there's somebody else,
there is
another
there's
defender.
There's Lee right in the area who's about to clear it, but I mean, to me, Eric, that feels like a red. But again, also, how much of an impact does that play? How many more seconds do we have in this game? Down to 10 men. I think the biggest impact is just Colin Smith's likely availability for the next match.
Correct. And I think that's where Colin Smith knew the scenario, knew that he was better off.
Even if he's sent off,
exactly.
He's totally fine.
You're not asking your team to play 60 minutes, a player down.
Yeah.
You've probably got 60 seconds, if that, left.
Exactly. There is the chance, maybe potentially, for a free kick knocked up field. There probably will be enough time for that to happen. We'll see if they will put the numbers forward, and Danny Griffin is over it. He'll walk off. Luke Biasi. Maybe one last launch forward. Lee off his line, didn't quite get it. The shot may have been wide, but it's blocked anyways. No nonsense defending. Cleared up field. Can Rhode Island try and break? It's lofted forward, Fusen the target. Biasi's there. Fusen's feeling the effects of the challenge. Maybe a pause for that. We're ticking closer and closer to 100 minutes played. We're almost 4 past the minimum of 6. But I think we still may have some more action left in us. Stoppage time on stoppage time.
And you saw when Jackson Lee committed here, he had a lot of traffic in front of him. And as you mentioned, this ball looked like it was going wide, but
no, you can't take a risk
Yep,
there.
exactly. It's better to be certain.
Same logic with Colin Smith's bear hug in the middle of the pitch. You know if you pull him down, there's no goal there. If you let him go by, maybe the point is gone. Johnson traps it, and that is the final action. 0-0 on the scoreboard, but dramatic all the way through. And ultimately, Eric, I think this one coming down to some massive moments in it, most notably from Jackson Lee. Back-to-back clean sheets now for both sides. As our final score is 0-0. Final thoughts from you, Eric?
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh and Rhode Island are going to be happy with the way they played defensively. Obviously, these are 2 clean sheets in a row for both these sides. Pittsburgh's going to look at it and say that those 2 saves by Jackson Lee really influenced the game, and that segues into the save of the match with Jackson Lee. For Pittsburgh, they're going to see this as the opportunity they could have won the game, where Rhode Island had the Albert Dequa shot that went wide, but these 2 saves.
Unbelievable. Make progress towards your goals with Centerville Bank, the official bank partner of Rhode Island FC. The second save, unbelievable, to just get a hand up and parry that one over the goal. It's so fast, the cameras can't even catch it just because of how quick this second shot comes in, just stabs that hand up. And that right there is the difference maker that makes this match a point. Fantastic performance. 0-0. Eric Dick also getting his side a clean sheet, back-to-back clean sheets now. Their first 2 of the year for Pittsburgh. And we can look now at our energy play of the match presented by Rhode Island Energy. This one is just going to be a fantastic ball between the lines. Picks out Fusen. He picks out Dequa. He just can't quite pick out the back of the net.
Yeah. You talk about the influence that Eric Dick had coming off his line there, but this is where Albert Dequa, and then this ball played in. The clever play by Alves here, but the ball played in by Fusen. The run by Albert Dequa, just pulling this ball wide of frame, and not as maybe clear cut as the Pittsburgh chance, but really good opportunity.
Almost finding them that one in there. Man of the match being Jackson Lee here today. Kept aside the clean sheet. Final score 0-0 between these 2 sides. Their first ever meeting finishes in a 0-0 draw. Rhode Island and Pittsburgh playing out to a thrilling one.
History is made in Rhode Island.
Congratulations, Rhode Island FC, for achieving the dream and making this a reality.
Rhode Island FC, the Ocean State's only professional soccer team, has kicked off its historic inaugural season.
This is going to be a spectacle to enjoy.
Rhode Island on the board!
Don't miss your chance to be a part of the action. Family 4-packs are now available starting at just $80. Get your tickets today.
The future is bright for Rhode Island FC.
When you make your play and things just go your way, that's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
Our final score, Rhode Island FC 0, Pittsburgh Riverhounds 0. Highbar Physical Therapy, the official physical therapy partner of RIFC. Visit highbarhealth.com today to begin your journey to feeling better, moving freely, and living fully. Both sides back-to-back 0-0 draws. It finishes here. Jack Edwards, Eric Dobransky here to carry you to the finish. We can look at our full-time highlights from this one. There were some chances late on, a stalemate, a defensive duel throughout much of the match. An early opportunity here, a shot from distance from Joe Brito. That was what the first half looked like a lot. These shots kind of lower percentage efforts from distance.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were waiting for throughout the match, was a moment where they were going to upgrade. And we saw it a bit in the second half. We saw it with those chances late in the second half. But really good play here. Dikwa out wide. Ball gets played across. Blocked, and then Ibarra with that second opportunity, and Eric Dick forced into probably the most difficult save he had to make tonight. Obviously, he came off his line in the second half to force Albert Dikwa wide, but good intervention there. And I know I've harped on some of the opportunity, or the creation of opportunities by both these sides, but a lot of credit to their collective effort defensively as well, as we see Doyle with the chance that he had. Fuson unable to find him early, but still committed to that run.
I just want to mention really quick the positioning of Dick here. He's perfectly placed for the only angle that shot can come through. He was in a good spot. Jumping out of the second half, 63rd minute, dropped in here, across goal. First save, brilliant. Second save as well. Save of the match for us. Easy enough.
I mean, you talked about the position for Eric Dick, and I think that kind of encapsulates what the goalkeeping position was tonight. And then Jackson Lee, 2 tremendous saves, and that starts with positioning and being really technical with the way you're a goalkeeper. And then same here, Eric Dick quick off his line, forcing a prolific goal scorer in Albert Dikwa to push this ball wide. Terrific ball played in by Fuson, and then that being probably the best chance of the match for Rhode Island. But Prince Sadie, his introduction to this game, his offense started to find a little bit more rhythm, a little bit more tempo. This chance from distance from Albert Dikwa, and the possession in favor of Rhode Island, 59%. You see the shots 12-9, but shots on target for Pittsburgh, for the 2 big ones, the saves by Jackson Lee.
Final thoughts on this one from you, Eric?
I think both will be positive with both having clean sheets, but now it's about finding balance and really some dynamic play in that final third.
Final score 0-0. Up next in the Open Cup for Rhode Island at Charlotte Independence, on the road for Pittsburgh against Phoenix Rising. Coming up for Eric Dobransky, our entire production crew, I've been Jack Edwards saying so long from Rhode Island, where the final score is Rhode Island 0, Pittsburgh 0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.